UFC 324 is over. It is in the rearview mirror and officially behind us. It came and went last night like a fart in the wind, and the Paramount era has officially started. Now, before we look ahead to UFC 325 next week, let's take a moment while we're still in this state of post-fight clarity and reflect on UFC 324 and what we learned. First and foremost, we learned that Paramount Plus has no clue what they're doing when it comes to streaming live sporting events. And if you missed any of these screw-ups, I have a laundry list of them for you. I'm going to go through them. You can treat them like a bingo chart. Mark off which ones you got and take a shot for every 3 you have. Now, Paramount Plus was not messing around last night. They wanted to let everyone know right out of the gate what was up and what to expect for the rest of the night. So the second the prelim card starts, they roll a Paddy versus Gaethje promo and they screw up the sound. There's no audio with the promo. It's random crowd noise from some live mic somewhere inside the arena instead of hearing sound bites and interview clips from the two fighters. And that's not where the fun stops. We're only getting started here. Ty Miller, who's making his Octagon debut, who surely told every living soul on this planet he knows to watch because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him. As soon as he's making his walkout, Megan O'Leary, UFC commentator, is doing her patented, I'm going to start an interview and the camera's going to pan from me to the fighter as he walks by bit. There's no audio for that either. Ty Miller just gets the shaft on his walkout. Then, to add insult to injury, as Buffer's introducing the fighters inside the octagon, they finish introducing Adam Fugit, and instead of panning to Ty Miller like they should to introduce Ty Miller, the camera stays on Adam Fugit while they introduce Ty Miller. And they keep showing Adam Fugit's stats. So Ty Miller doesn't get any camera time. He doesn't get his stats on the screen. He doesn't get the Megan O'Leary treatment. He gets jack squat. He's lucky he won his fight, or he probably wouldn't have got any mic time at all. Now, I don't know if they fixed this next issue at some point during the broadcast, or if my ears just got used to it from hearing it so much all night long. But the background music was way too loud, and the mic audio was way too low. So you essentially couldn't hear what people were saying because there was too much noise in the background going on. It was like the TV production engineer got a hold of the sound engineer from the movie Tenet and said, hey, that thing you do where no one can hear the people talking, can you do that tonight? And speaking of crowd noise, right before the Perez decision, the audio went out again and all we could hear was this random crowd noise again. Dean Thomas was MIA for his only segment. They barely call him this guy. He has one job to do, and he's not there when they need him. Although in his defense, I'm going to assume it was another audio issue because their audio engineer was terrible. Meta AI. Download the Meta AI app today. During the Figgy fight, they did the thing between rounds where they had the translator in the corner translating what a foreign fighter's coach is telling him, and there's just silence, just crowd noise for the first 30 seconds. It's like the translator didn't realize he was supposed to be translating or something, and when the break's almost over, they finally cue in the translator audio. The transition from the prelims to the main card was abrupt and jarring. I think most people were expecting this to be like a fight night where you started on the prelims and it automatically translates to the main card, but that's not what happened. They treated it like a pay-per-view, even though there was no need to switch. So everyone had to manually change from the prelims to the main card. And not only that, but they cut Weidman off mid-sentence as he's congratulating Cruz. It was super awkward and confusing at first. And while they were doing the intro to the main card, they happened to show Gaethje get flatlined. Why are you showing the guy who's in the main event of this card get flatlined out cold in a highlight? During the Gene Silva fight, also the corner work, same thing as the Figgy fight. The translator's not ready. The translator audio is not going. There's some issue with the translation during the corner talk. Meta AI. Download the Meta AI app today. I forget what was actually happening at this point, but audio from the Screen 7 trailer started playing and then they stopped it. And then 3 or 4 seconds later, they played the actual Scream 7 trailer. It was on the post-Waldo fight. Once again, in between rounds, in the O'Malley fight, there was no audio after round 2 in the O'Malley corner. And the last issue on my laundry list of screw-ups last night was the Glover Teixeira crowd cam. They show a group of guys. Glover Teixeira is obviously not there at all. The Paramount people have no clue who Glover Teixeira is, I'm assuming, and just show a random group of people. Overall, this production quality, this Bush League BS, was literally PFL or sub-PFL level quality. Paramount's really got their work cut out for them to step things up. So aside from learning that Paramount Plus is going to be amateur hour for at least the next few UFC events, what else did we learn last night? Let's look through the fights in the order they occurred and see what we can glean from each exchange. In the first fight of the night, Ty Miller got a standing TKO over Adam Fugit. Ty Miller looked pretty good on the feet. He's a Golden Gloves boxing champ. He's apparently someone we need to keep on our watch list, so I'll be adding him to mine. I suggest you add him to yours too. Great debut by Ty Miller. We also learned that Adam Fugit's manager hates him. Adam Fugit's manager might be the worst manager in the UFC right now. Adam Fugit is not a terrible fighter, but he's not a great fighter either. He's good enough to be in the UFC, and that's about it. Yet for some reason, his manager has gotten in fights with Michael Morales, Mike Malott, Islam Dulatov, and now Ty Miller. His manager is trying to get him killed. Adam, have a serious talk with your manager, buddy. Next up was my boy Josh the Incredible Hulk Hogan, doing exactly what Josh the Incredible Hulk Hogan said he was going to do. He put on a masterclass in ass whooping, and unfortunately Denzel Freeman was the pupil. Oh my God, I can't believe what we saw here. Josh the Incredible Hulk Hogan proved you can get a TKO victory via emotional damage. Stephen He would be proud of this performance, and I'm proud of you too, buddy. Next up was Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. Now, I know most people are probably used to seeing Alex Perez lose and Charles Johnson win, so this may have come as a surprise, but Alex Perez used this opportunity as a y'all must have forgot moment to remind everyone when he's not fighting a top 5 fighter, he's going to put a beating on somebody. I know Perez had lost a lot of fights out of his last few fights, and I'm really happy that he got this win here because so many fighters that deserve to be in the UFC, they get to the top and then they fall off a cliff. And when you fall off a cliff, you usually fall out of the UFC. When you slowly roll downhill back to the unranked area, you can usually make a career out of it being a journeyman. So let's see what's next for Alex Perez. Next up, Nikita Krylov got a TKO victory over Modestas Bukauskas. Now, what did we learn here? Because everyone was expecting Krylov to have no chin and just get KO'd immediately. We learned if he's not fighting a power puncher, he's a pretty decent fighter and you're going to have your hands full. If you can't put his lights out, you've got a long night ahead of you. Modestas found that out the hard way. Now this next fight, Ateba Gautier versus Andre Pulaev. I know a lot of people had high hopes for Ateba Gautier, and in a way he kind of fraud checked himself, which is probably the best way to get fraud checked, not get a loss in the process. But he showed us he's not the prospect, at least right now, that we were all hoping he would be. We thought he was some invincible destroyer that just KOs everyone in the first minute. We thought he was a mini Tom Aspinall, a mini Francis Ngannou, but we learned he's really just a young guy with some power. So he has a lot of work to do. Hopefully he can make some improvements because there's a lot of room for improvement in his game. He's basically just got an overhand right at this point and a lot of power. And people have been on his case about only fighting cans, but it kind of looks like if he wasn't fighting cans, he might not be winning. So I hope not winning by easy KO makes him reflect on his performance and his training methods. I know he's only 23 years old, so he's got a long way to come, but hopefully we see an improved version of him the next time we see him. And also, hopefully we see him fighting a little bit higher up in the rankings than what he's been doing. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Davison Figueiredo. This fight would have been an amazingly hyped up fight a few years ago, and it's on the prelims last night. A lot of people were upset this fight was on the prelims, but judging on how the fight went, you can't be mad at people. It was not that entertaining of a fight, and Umar does what Umar does, and he got the win. Davison Figueiredo is checked out officially, and I'm pretty sure that's what we learned last night in this fight. Davison Figueiredo, when he moved up to bantamweight, he was a force to be reckoned with. He was determined. He was on a tear until he ran into Peter Yan. I think the Yan loss showed him he wasn't the best, and if he's not going to be the best, I think he's just there for a paycheck. It's shown in his performances, his last few fights, even in his victory, his previous fight, and missing weight. He's just not the guy he was a few years ago. Gene Silva versus Arnold Allen, the people's main event, as I like to call it. What did we learn here? Gene Silva is not just a can crusher. A lot of criticism on Gene Silva was he had easy wins. He beat guys that weren't very good. He's never beat anyone good. Well, Arnold Allen is very good, and beating Arnold Allen by decision proves that you are a talented fighter. So good job, Gene Silva. Natalia Silva versus Rose Namajunas. Unanimous decision to Natalia Silva. It was a close and competitive fight, but what we learned, in my opinion, is Natalia Silva isn't anywhere as good as we thought she was. Now, she did take it on somewhat of a short notice, and she still beat Rose Namajunas, but Rose isn't the same as she was a few years ago. She really hasn't been the same since her Carla Esparza fiasco, if you ask me. But what this fight did is pretty much killed any hype there may have been for Natalia Silva versus Shevchenko. Waldo Cortez Acosta gets the KO victory over Derek Lewis via ground and pound. Waldo Cortez Acosta was actually a lot more aggressive than I thought he was going to be. Derek Lewis was also pretty explosive and inventive, but the one takeaway from this fight, the one thing that I gleaned that I hadn't paid attention to previously, is that Waldo Cortez Acosta's greatest attribute, his greatest strength, his greatest weapon is his speed. His speed is something most of the heavyweight division is going to have problems dealing with, but at the top of the division, guys like Tommy Eyeballs Aspinall and Cyril Gahn, they're pretty light on their feet. It'll be more of an even match, but I'm definitely curious to see what's next for Where's Waldo Cortez Acosta. Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. This one was a pretty close, pretty competitive fight. The first round, O'Malley outstruck Yadong. Yadong got the takedown. It was competitive. Even though O'Malley outstruck him, he didn't do a ton more damage. I figured it was close. The judges would probably give it to O'Malley on the scorecards, and they did. O'Malley wins the unanimous decision, 2-1. But both of the big bantamweight fights on this card, both of them failed to deliver any real fireworks or excitement. There were moments in the O'Malley fight, but at the beginning of the night, most fans were probably thinking, in the bantamweight division, Umar or O'Malley are going to be next for Peter Yan, and it will probably depend on how their fights go tonight. After Umar had his stink fest, Sean O'Malley was practically a shoo-in for the next title fight. All he had to do was win. But on that same token, it's like O'Malley saw Umar's fight and said, all I have to do is win, and that's all he did. O'Malley's fight was not as exciting as his fights typically are. And I almost feel like neither guy deserves a title shot, to be honest. It's kind of funny with these two guys, O'Malley and Umar Nurmagomedov, because both fans point to the other people's fighter and say they get special treatment. A lot of people think O'Malley got special treatment, and he did. He didn't deserve the second title fight against Merab, but he got it. On the same token, though, Umar got just as special treatment, where his only ranked win was against Corey Sandhagen. Nobody thought he really deserved or had earned a title shot after that win, and he got the title shot. So you have two fighters that both have Dana White privilege, with each fan base pointing the finger at the other one, not willing to admit the hypocrisy within their own fighter. Anyway, O'Malley's probably getting the next title fight at the White House. Oh yeah, and what did we actually learn in this fight? I learned that O'Malley is not the striking phenom that he's been made out to be. He's not some sniper that's going to pick everyone in the division apart. He's not someone you absolutely cannot stand with because he's just too much on the feet. He's just a good striker. He was good at TKOing unranked fighters, and he landed a pretty good shot against Aljo. But aside from that, he's just a good striker. You don't have to fear him. He's not Alex Pereira. So now we've arrived at the main event of the evening. Justin Gaethje defeats Paddy Pimblett via unanimous decision to win his second fake title and an opportunity to get brain damage later this year against Ilia Topuria. What did we learn besides Paddy Pimblett probably couldn't box his way out of a wet paper bag? We learned how good Paddy Pimblett actually is. We really didn't know, to be honest. Paddy Pimblett beat up a bunch of guys at the end of their career when they were over the hill. He got shot up the rankings, some say artificially, but a lot of guys left the rankings at the same time, which moved everyone up, including Paddy Pimblett. But we didn't really have a very good barometer on where he was in terms of skill level. And last night we saw he's skilled enough to hang with some of the top guys, but he's not quite there. He's not quite at the level to beat them yet. We saw he has a granite chin. He is tough as absolute steel nails. This guy took one hell of a beating. I'm surprised he didn't get finished. There were lots of times he went down that I thought it was the beginning of the end. Although maybe that's more a knock on Justin Gaethje's finishing instinct and finishing ability than Paddy Pimblett's survivability. Maybe it's a combination of the two. I know Gaethje kept going to that front headlock position where he was doing zero damage. I don't know if he was just trying to hold Pimblett there and tire him out, or if he thought he was doing something productive at the time. You would think an All-American wrestler would have some tricks up his sleeve for being in that position, but he just laid there. But you can't knock him because he did win the fight. Congratulations, Justin Gaethje. Paddy Pimblett, I'm not sure what's next for you, but man, Scousers really don't get knocked out.